In the last part of Lloyd and Xavier successfully led robots to build a railroad, thanks to a huge number of demons, which the hero himself subdued. Unexpectedly, he met the soul of the very real Lloyd, which really surprised the guy. Later, when the construction of the railroad was in its final stages, a giant monster appeared that even Xavier could not handle. Hi guys, long time no see. I want to ask you to put a like on this video, and I ask you to watch other recaps on my channel because I really and hope you like it. I also want to congratulate each of you on the new year. I wish you all the best in the new year. Have a good one, everyone. The giant monster began to absorb the air currents, and when the pressure reached its peak, it spewed a huge column of lava, which frightened Xavier. He began to block the lava with his blade, while Lloyd chaotically dodged the lava shards falling nearby and asked Xavier to stop. The servant looked at Lloyd cautiously, and then resumed what he had been doing. Xavier managed to fight back and immediately lunged at the monster's carcass, the servant unleashing an incredibly powerful attack that shattered the enemy into many pieces. The monster shattered into small particles of lava, but later began to reassemble itself at one point. After the regeneration was over, the monster shouted loudly that it was invincible. The monster didn't understand why Xavier was attacking it, but Xavier explained that he was the Lord's guardian and that the monster could hurt a lot of people. The monster told Xavier to leave because he was not a bad guy. The monster went on to say that a bastard like Lloyd was not worth protecting. Xavier thought about it, which made Lloyd very nervous. Lloyd begged the hero to run away, but he didn't listen and just shoved the ghost back into his pocket. Lloyd told the soul to run away only after he had tried everything. The soul seemed to be touched by these words, but it was actually shocked because Lloyd was the one who would run away first in any mess. The hero ordered the soul to take a close look at the power that could be gained through hard work. The soul didn't understand why the guy pretended to be tough. At that time, Lloyd found himself in front of the lava monster. At that time, there was a dragon sitting on a mountain in the icy places. He was very cold and was eagerly waiting for Lloyd to call him. The dragon remembered the hero's order not to be seen by humans, and he was incredibly bored. At that time, the monster in hell was preparing to crush Lloyd, but thanks to Xavier, the attack was stopped. At that moment, Lloyd stretched out his hand and began to speak the spell he had received from the dragon's soul with a pitiful look on his face. The seal began to glow, and Lloyd thought about getting to where the dragon was. Suddenly, the dragon saw a green light, a portal appearing from above, and the dragon rejoiced, for it was his father's scent, Lloyd's if anything. The monster didn't know what the portal was, but one thing was clear: it was incredibly cold. The monster's body began to stiffen and break, and then it began to run. At that time, Lloyd was incredibly relieved and said that this was the end. The hero shouted with all his might that the dragon would come to him. Then the dragon arrived in hell, and with great speed with the words, "Daddy," flew straight to the hero. Lloyd asked if the dragon was cold. He also pointed to the monster and said that he was a great warmer. Then the giant dragon began to chase the lava man. He hugged the lava man, and the dragon finally got warm, while the monster hardened and turned to stone. Lloyd, however, did not stand still and approached with a demonic look and a loud laugh. He ordered the dragon to retreat, then attacked with his energy, shattering the monster into huge pieces. The demons who watched this battle were shocked, for this was the strongest monster in hell that had just been destroyed. The soul was also shocked by the hero's victory, and the monster continued to fall, showering the ground with a hail of body parts. Lloyd had said that this was the kind of strength one could achieve if one worked hard. The soul thought about what it had been doing all its life, and realized that it was beginning to think the new Lloyd was incredible. A monster's voice was heard, which surprised the hero. Something began to emerge from the ground, and it was a monster who said he was immortal. It turned out that because of his wounds, he had become small, and Lloyd looked like a giant in front of him. The monster told Lloyd to wait 1,000,000 years, because then he would recover and come back for revenge. At this point, Lloyd's face showed a hint of disapproval, and then he began to laugh out loud, saying that he could not live that long. The monster began to cry, calling Lloyd a disgusting freak and saying that he hated him. At this point, the hero did not stop and continued his taunts, suggesting that the monster attack again. What happened seemed unbelievably crazy, and his soul was once again disappointed in the hero. In his opinion, this guy should definitely burn in hell. Lloyd received a message from the system. He had gained a new cold control skill, much to the hero's delight. Lloyd turned around and saw an image of a large number of demons bowing to him. One of the demons called Lloyd a superior being and said they all admired him. They promised to gladly obey any command the protagonist gave them. Lloyd seemed pleased, and with a smile on his face, called the demons pathetic slaves. Demons as mosaicists were delighted by such words. One of the demons said that there was a problem, namely that because of the portal, the temperature in hell is lowered, which is very harmful. Lloyd didn't seem surprised by the words. The demon was waiting for what the hero would say, but Lloyd remained silent and pretended that he had nothing to do with it. Lloyd pretended not to hear or understand what the demon was saying. Lloyd said he didn't understand and ordered the slaves to go to work. The hero started to leave while the demons stood in shock. All the demons turned pale because Lloyd was not going to take responsibility for the portal. All the demons were simply delighted by this behavior. At that time, the spirit from under the hedge watched everything that was happening. He couldn't figure out when the hero would help him. At that time, Lloyd was looking at the lava lake and thinking that if they go this way, the construction will take 2 days longer. A smile appeared on Lloyd's face, and he ordered the dragon to get on with it, whereupon the dragon instantly attacked the lake. Lloyd's other pets seemed to be shocked by such a show. Lloyd continued to give out orders to the dragon, while the others only watched with nonchalant faces. Lloyd was very skillfully directing his forces to finish the project as quickly as possible. After the dragon's successful work, the hero hugged it, which displeased the other pets, who seemed ready to kill the dragon. After a while, the dragon was sitting on one of the islands resting, and a voice was heard behind him. It was the other pets who were lashing out at the newcomer, as they were older and didn't like the attention Lloyd was giving the dragon. As soon as the dragon moved, they were scared, but something was definitely wrong. They saw a picture of a huge dragon starting to beckon to them. The boys climbed on top of it, and it instantly flew upwards. The other pets were very happy. Such a ride made them very happy. That was how the dragon officially became a member of their gang. Lloyd saw this and was happy for the dragon, who now had a great social life. At that time, the soul approached Lloyd and started calling him a bad person who had betrayed him. Lloyd asked why the soul suddenly started talking like that. The spirit started yelling about how Lloyd had promised to help him. The hero didn't take it and asked what the ghost was going to do to him. The ghost yelled at Lloyd to stop sticking his ugly face in. The hero said that his face made women's clothes burst at the seams. The spirit said that the face is the mirror of the soul. And since the hero's soul is dirty, the face is also ugly. They argued and looked at each other, but in a moment they turned away because neither of them could look at the other's face anymore. Lloyd explained that he was busy, and now he didn't know how to help. Soul began to whine again about Lloyd taking everything she had. Lloyd asked if he really needed to help the soul, since she would have died of alcohol poisoning a long time ago. After saying that, the soul's face twisted. And Lloyd said that he had saved the whole family, and he thought that was enough. The soul began to scream that this was nonsense, but suddenly the King of Hell appeared and confirmed Lloyd's words. He said that the real Lloyd was pathetic and would have died a miserable death. The soul seemed very saddened by the truth. Lloyd, on the other hand, was curious how much the Demon King knew. He approached him and said that he wanted to clarify one thing, namely whether the uncle knew why and how he had been transported to this world. The Demon King looked at Lloyd and said he had no idea why. The Demon King said that the messenger from the other world had chosen the wrong side, and these words seemed to affect the hero very much. There was a pause between them, and Lloyd remembered receiving a similar message after giving his mana to Xavier. Lloyd wanted to know more about the upper world, but the Demon King would not answer. The king said that he would have plenty of time after building the train, so he could find time to rest. The Demon King said that it was not expensive to maintain the road, but the train would take a long time to explore. Lloyd seemed to be thinking of something, and a smile appeared on his impassive face. He promised to prepare maintenance manuals. The Demon King asked what Lloyd wanted, and he said he wanted a pass for the reincarnation gate. The hero added that if it was possible. The Demon King said that there was no problem with this request, and the soul who heard this was in tears because it was a chance. Lloyd, on the other hand, looked at the soul and asked if it was enough, calling it an ugly bastard. At the time the guys were checking the train, a huge number of demons were overexerting themselves, and it seemed like every one of them was about to die. One of the demons said he was going to die like that, but Lloyd showed up and gave the demon hope. The hero hit the demon with all his might, so hard that it flew off the cart. Seeing that the demon flew far back, and looking at the hero who promised such a vacation to everyone who was hard, the demons began to work even harder, and did not complain. At that time, the demon outside lay down, and was very happy to be treated like trash. The soul turned to the hero, and asked if what he had received from the King of Hell was true for him. Lloyd said it was, and that there was nothing to worry about. The soul thanked the hero in surprise, but the hero yelled at him because the ghost's face was disgusting. They argued for a while, then sat down again, and the ghost asked how his family was. Lloyd said they were fine, and the ghost asked about the rest of his family. Lloyd said that Julian had married a princess and now lived in the capital. Lloyd also revealed that the father was now an earl instead of a baron. Soul was shocked that Lloyd could do so much. Soul said that his father had become jealous of Xavier as soon as he brought him into the house, and that was why he had mistreated the servant. Soul asked the protagonist to tell him that he was sorry for the broken sword. It also asked him to tell his father and mother that he was sorry. The time came and the soul found itself near the reincarnation portal. It looked back to where Lloyd was standing and started to say the last words. Lloyd didn't listen and just gave the soul a good kick with his foot, and it flew straight into the portal. Lloyd said he wouldn't listen to this nonsense and ordered the soul to leave. The soul promised to work harder than the protagonist. He promised to become a man that everyone in the world would be happy to see. After that, a smile appeared on Lloyd's face, and he told the soul to do so. The soul smiled and disappeared. Lloyd stopped and stared at the gate. Now he could breathe a sigh of peace. Smiling, he said that the mission was finally over, and now it was time to get paid. It was then that the dragon's soul was released. The King of Hell had kept his part of the bargain. He said he had done everything according to the contract, and Lloyd didn't understand how he could become a member of the Dragon King. The king said it had been about 5 hours in the real world and promised to send the hero and his bodyguard back. He said he was looking forward to their next meeting. Lloyd didn't seem to understand what that meant, but he didn't have time to say anything as he was being transported back. Lloyd said he didn't want to go to hell, while Xavier said it seemed like the hero would be more comfortable there. Lloyd, on the other hand, said that Xavier was having just as much fun. The hero started to get nervous. He didn't understand where the dragon uncle had gone. A voice was heard. A portal appeared outside the window. There was a huge monster covered with darkness.